Hey guys, Zen here, and today we're back with more Rainbow Six Siege. In this video, we're doing what we do best, rounding up all the latest for the best tactical FPS ever created, and well, you guys get it. Let's do this.
Jesus.
Now guys, really quick, this video is sponsored by my friends at Nau Drinks. This is a performance drink that increases things like focus and reaction time, but does so without the crash and jitters of other gamer-related drinks because it's also caffeine-free and packed with vitamins. Now, for us here on the channel, they've set up an awesome buy one, get one free special. So you buy one bag and the second comes complimentary at 100% off. As always, if you guys are looking for anything within their shop, check out with code ZEN and enjoy 10% off the entire order. Guys, this product comes highly recommended and is something I enjoy myself, so click the top link in the description to get your hands on this amazing deal and delicious performance drink that I think you guys will enjoy. But we're going to start this one off with a major update that's been detailed recently. So as most of you know, there's been some pretty significant buffs and nerfs to some of the operators, but we're also seeing some small reworks coming to a couple of the operators in the game. The biggest one is actually coming to Warden. Ubisoft have finally done it. Warden will be changed from a 3 armor 1 speed op to a 2 armor 2 speed operator. Now, you might believe this is it. This is exactly what Warden has needed to be a successful pick in ranked, and Ubisoft even paired this update with a note that says, we want to give Warden more opportunities to use his ability and increase his potential as a defender. Now, I'll keep it real and say, yes, ultimately, this is a step in the right direction for Warden, and he should definitely see more use as a result, but guys, again, keeping things honest here, this really isn't Warden's problem, and what this does now is make him even more comparable to Glaz. He too is a 2 armor 2 speed operator with the ability to see through smoke, and Glaz has become one of the most redundant ops in the game, even after the frags. But if you'd rather not compare Warden to Glaz, let's try Kapkan. He started as a 3 armor and then moved to a 2 armor, and this change alone isn't what made him viable. It was the overhaul to his gadget that ultimately made him the amazing op he is in today's meta. So I say all of this to say that Warden probably won't benefit much from this other than being slightly more agile around the map. Now, my recommendation for Warden is to fully remove the movement penalties tied to his gadget, but significantly reduce the amount of time the gadget can be used. A smoke grenade stays active for upwards of about 10 seconds, and so reducing Warden's ability to something like 3 seconds forces him to make a play to be successful. But what this really does is actually allows him to use his gadget effectively. So, alright, my last quack here is this. Warden and Glaz will just not be picked, or at least considered viable picks, until the movement penalty is completely removed. They can tweak and try everything else, but the reality is that if you're forced to stand still to be effective, you'll always be at the disadvantage, and to be honest, I'm surprised this lesson hasn't been learned with an operator like Tachanka being a prime example of this. So I want to know from you guys, does this change make Warden a viable pick, and will you be maining him after this update? I'm really curious, so let us know. Now, another operator seeing some change is Jackal. So there's actually a lot to this change, but the two biggest variables are pings being associated with the color of footsteps and how Jackal will relay this information to teammates. A red print is 5 pings, yellow is 4, green is 3, and blue is 2 pings. This is actually a great change, and really it should have always acted like this. Currently, the color of the prints hasn't really mattered much. Yes, you could always follow them and they may lead you to a nearby enemy, but ultimately it's been Jackal's job to just activate the gadget and scan. Tracking the enemy hasn't really been a factor. Now, the other change is deciding whether or not to scan, because once you do, the prints are gone, so you have the choice of not scanning and following the trail, keeping the intel to yourself, or you scan, lose the prints, and the whole team can react. Now, opposite to Warden, I think this is it for Jackal, or at least very close. Being pinged just twice if he scans a blue print isn't that bad, and will only last a few seconds, and on top of that, if he wants to seek me out again, he'll have to find a new set of footprints to scan, so that one cluster of prints no longer works for multiple uses. So yeah, technically speaking, this is a nerf and forces Jackal to be much more thoughtful about scanning. On the other hand though, it makes playing against him much less frustrating overall. But again, I'll ask you, what do you think? Are you still banning Jackal every single ranked game after this, or is he now allowed? But other than that, he'll now have a claymore over breaches and won't be able to scan prints through the floor. Next, we can move over to my main, Kaid, and an interesting update that could be coming to him soon. So the devs have detailed a change to the Electroclaw that would allow it to electrify up to 3 reinforced walls by making the radius much larger. Now, this is great, obviously, but you might wonder how this affects his exclusive ability, which is being able to to electrify hatches. Well, Kaid actually has somewhat of a problem, and it's that in some cases, the Electroclaw can be bypassed by simply placing a charge near the hatch instead of on it. Once detonated, the charge destroys the Electroclaw because of the blast radius and can also open up the hatch. Now, the wider radius of this update will allow you to place the claw at a distance, and you'll really no longer need to worry about this. This also basically removes Maverick as a counter because he won't be able to destroy the claw while using his torch on the hatch, although he still will be able to open it up if he's willing to take a few zaps. All in all, this gives Kaid a lot more options to use his gadget effectively and safely. We can't know yet, but if the radius is substantially larger, like by a lot, you may even be able to put it in places outside of the range of Thatcher's EMP blast, which is huge for the hard breaching meta, but for that, we'll just have to wait and see. Finally, guys, we have a buff to Glaz and a nerf to Twitch. Twitch will be losing 5 rounds in her F2 magazine, dropping it to just 25 bullets, and Glaz's OTS is getting a faster fire rate. The nerf to Twitch is a little nerve-wracking because the weapon's fire rate is high, so those 25 bullets will just dump quickly. And as far as Glaz, guys, it just doesn't matter. Remove the movement penalty. I honestly don't think this is saving him. In general though, Ubisoft is getting busy here, and there are some changes that will undoubtedly make a huge difference once they're live. So with that, let's move on. Next, the Battle Pass, or as it's currently known as the Mini Battle Pass. Now, if you've logged into the game at all over this past week, you'd notice that the Call Me Harry Battle Pass is here, and by simply playing the game, you can pretty easily unlock its rewards. But this segment isn't about the news. You guys have been looking for those elusive thoughts, and now that I've completed the pass and unlocked everything, it's time for exactly that, so let's get into it. I'll start by saying this. In the 4 years we've been playing Siege, there's never really been anything to grind for. Now, yes, there are the alpha packs, but as we all know, grinding those out can be really a chug, considering the drop rate for anything exciting is literally less than 5%, and there's still the issue of duplicates and getting the same loot over and over again. Outside of endlessly farming for renown, there really is no grind, unless of course we're talking about rank. And so for me, that's how I look at this battle pass, a reason to grind for items that aren't duplicates and for the most part are exclusive to the pass. Another addition that's intriguing is that at least with the next battle pass, it'll be the first time we'll be able to earn boosters, which has always been locked behind a paywall. But since you guys were asking, I'll give it to you straight. I like the idea of progression in Siege, whether that's for cosmetics or whatever else. I mean, we're talking gaming, and having a clear path to your goals is important, especially for the long term. However, like many of you guys, more microtransactions are getting tiresome, but to be honest, this isn't an issue exclusive to Rainbow Six Siege. For those unaware, Infinity Ward, the devs of the latest Call of Duty, have announced that there will be absolutely 100% no loot boxes in the upcoming game, and instead, they're moving exclusively to a battle pass format. Of course, loot boxes are a multi-billion-dollar industry, and so for an announcement like that to be made, ultimately, you can assume they'll be taking somewhat of a financial hit if this remains to be true. Yes, it is a cash machine, but one that hurts the population of games and their player base's longevity. It just always looks bad, and I think developers are starting to catch on, and I think their answer to this is the battle pass-like system that feels more like gaming and less like gambling. But honestly, from the feedback I've been hearing about the battle pass in Siege, regardless of what it means for the game, people just don't want this. So there really isn't too much more to elaborate on, so the last thing I'll say is that no matter what, with the ongoing games as a service format, the battle pass model is trendy, and it's kind of a way for the developers to steer clear of loot boxes and have a better sense of progression. What I like is that I can actually see what I'm grinding for, and I'm not necessarily a victim of luck or duplicate loot for that matter. What I'm not too keen on is, of course, more micros, and the better half of my judgment says that's what the majority of the player base is feeling as well. Lastly, the final mention here is that the battle pass model is all about balance. If it takes more than 500 games per season to unlock the final tier, then everyone will look at it as a cash grab and no one will be satisfied. And so it's really up to Ubisoft to crunch the numbers, look at the most active players, and decide just how much grind will be required to get what you want. Now, the smaller battle pass is somewhat exempt from all of this because it's temporary, and from every other battle pass I've ever known, alone, it's very easy to get everything. The premium pass will be the thing that shows the true direction for this game. But on a final note, with this new system, is my priority now to just play for tiered loot, or is the ultimate goal still to be the best and most knowledgeable Siege player I can be? I don't want all of the focus to be on loot, especially with Rainbow Six Siege, because the game is so much more than that and deserves those accolades. But that's it, a huge game update detailed for Siege and some passion to help us along. Guys, I want it to be said that I want this game to grow and flourish as much as possible, so having the tough conversations about where the game is headed, new features, is important, and my hope is that the feedback is taken into consideration. If you're a mega fan of the Battle Pass and see no wrong, have no shame. Everyone deserves to enjoy their game how they'd like. If you're not a fan, then express those feelings and be straight up about it. Regardless though, it's your deep pockets that speak the loudest, and so let the green talk, guys. But now I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the Battle Pass system in Siege? And again, is Warden now ranked ready? Leave everything in a comment down below. If you guys did enjoy this video, please drop a like and subscribe with notifications if you're new. With that being said, it's been Zen. Hey, I'm out.